Does it ever feel like everything has gotten worse? I am talking about our digital platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and streaming services, I don't know, like Netflix, all seem to be filled with extra fees, too many ads, or what we now call AI slop. Well, my next guest says you are not wrong to feel that way. In his new book, he argues that all of our tech businesses are turning awful, and we remain trapped and unable to escape. Joining me now, the author, Cory Doctorow. His book, Enshittification, Why Everything Suddenly Got Worse and What to Do About It, is out now. Quite a title for something we are all feeling. Explain to us what it means, welcome, by the way, and how we got here.
So it's a way of talking about platform decay. It's a way of talking about how we have these platforms that we used to love. They've gotten worse. We didn't invent greed in the middle of the last decade. Something changed. And it's created this pattern where we have platforms that are at first good to their end users. They lock us in. Once we're locked in, they make things a little worse for us. They make things better for business customers. They lock them in. Then they harvest all the value for themselves. They leave behind a kind of mingy homeopathic residue of value to keep us locked there and keep the businesses locked to us. And then they turn into a pile of crap.
Okay, so if everyone is dissatisfied with the products, in the end, who benefits? The tech platforms because they're just getting paid?
Yeah. You know, you remember Lily Tomlin used to do these SNL sketches where she'd be the bell operator and she would do these ads and she'd turn to the camera at the end and say, we don't care. We don't have to. We're the phone company.
Yes.
Right? So,
but that's kind of where we are.
Google bought their way to a 90% search market share. They don't care. They don't have to. They're the search company. And what are we going to do? Use a different search box? They're all wired into Google's servers. You know, they bought every operating system, every carrier, every manufacturer. You know, you'd be hard-pressed to find a search box that isn't wired to Google. Why wouldn't they increase the amount of slop, decrease the amount of work they put into blocking spam, add like 7 ads to the top of your results, each one marked with a smaller and grayer word ad telling you that it's not a real search result? Yeah.
Okay, but then people are even using this word enshittification to describe more than just digital platforms. They are using it as a quality of our TV shows, our video games, American democracy, Congress, who doesn't happen to be at work for, I don't know, the now 4th week.
Yeah, it's nice they get a holiday. You know, I think that I'm okay with people using this in a loose way, but when it comes to tech, there are specific ways in which tech can change the deal that other kinds of businesses can't, because tech platforms, they're digital. That means that they can be updated in real time. Every person who uses them can be given a different offer. Every time you use them, the search results can be different. The pricing can be different. So there's this like system of pumps that you can use to move value around. But
again, we're not paying those tech platforms. So why are they going to improve for us?
Well, even if you are paying for the platform, they're making things terrible for you. You know, Apple did this thing where they blocked Facebook tracking in the apps. You just ticked a little box on your iPhone and they couldn't track you anymore. 96% of Apple customers ticked it. The other 4% were drunk or Facebook employees or drunk Facebook employees, which makes sense because if I worked at Facebook, I'd be drunk all the time. But even as Apple turned that on, they were also turning on their own surveillance. They spy on you in exactly the way Facebook used to. They do so in order to feed their own ad network. And it's not like someone gave you your Apple distraction rectangle for free.
Okay,
you
but
paid $1,000 for it.
Then why are you optimistic? Because I see no signs that any of this is going to change.
Well, I have no use for optimism. Optimism is fatalism. It's the belief things will get better even if we do nothing. I am hopeful, which means that I think that if we do stuff, things can change. And right
what is
now,
that stuff?
We are in the midst of a huge upheaval in the way that we think about corporate concentration. It happened with all guns blazing under the Biden administration, but it didn't just happen in America. Like all the best Americans, I'm Canadian. And in Canada...
You're talking about Lena Khan running the FTC.
Yeah,
but
Rohit
here's the
Chopra,
thing. Yes.
Jonathan Cantor.
And you know what? The business community railed against her. They hated her guts. And President Kamala Harris didn't win. And Donald Trump is going to sail through whatever these businesses want done.
He totally is. But it didn't just happen in America. That's my point. In Canada, our competition regulator had challenged 3 mergers ever and never succeeded. But we just gave them the most sweeping competition enforcement powers of any regulator in the history of the world and a giant budget. The European Union's got the Digital Markets Act and the Digital Services Act. We've seen revival of antitrust in Singapore, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and in China, because the Chinese government doesn't like its tech companies. It sees them as competitors. And so something is changing in the world, right? The political currents have changed. There's this giant tailwind for attacking corporate concentration. The Biden administration did incredible work, but I don't think it's because Joe Biden was an anti-corporate guy. You just look at his record in the Senate. He was not an anti-corporate guy. I think it's because that's where the political winds were blowing. And those political winds didn't stop just because Donald Trump got elected.
7 million people protested a week ago. So is the answer that the American person, the consumer, the voter shouldn't be waiting for their leaders to do something? They should stand up and say, this isn't working for me. I want something different.
Well, absolutely, we should be saying you want something different, but don't do it as a consumer, right? The reason billionaires want you to vote with your wallet is because their wallets are thicker than yours, and they're going to win that vote, right? You gotta be a citizen. You got to be part of a polity. So for 25 years, I've worked for a digital rights group called the Electronic Frontier Foundation. We work on making sure your human rights follow you into the digital world, and the digital world doesn't take away your human rights. Getting involved as part of a polity with activist groups, with political groups, with your local groups. We have a thing called the Electronic Frontier Alliance. They've got like 5 chapters here in New York that work on everything from abortion privacy to stopping digital tracking for people ISIS hunting to right to repair and so on. All that stuff comes from the grassroots level. The states can still operate. The cities can still operate.
I don't know. You're jumping on optimism, and I can see a shining light above you. All right.
Never optimism.
Corey, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the book. We'll be back.